Now, the West Wicklow Wind Action Group have posted an update on the proposed wind farm in the Baltinglass area. They say ABO Wind now plan to reduce the number of proposed wind turbines from 9 on to 5, following recent information published on the Facebook page. We've emailed ABO for a response to the news, but we're joined by Paul Carberry from West Wicklow Wind Action Group. Hi, Paul.
Morning, Declan. How are you?
Good morning to you. Whereabouts is the proposed wind farm then?
Its location is at a site or a hill called Kilranelagh Hill, which is in West Wicklow, just east of Baltinglass by about 3 kilometres. It's in the centre. Its position is in the centre of what's commonly known as the Baltinglass Hill Fort cluster. So it actually has a hill fort on top of the hill of Kilranelagh Hill itself. So it's
east of Baltinglass, yeah. And is it heading towards where, Kiltegan or somewhere like that? Is it
exactly?
That direction?
And the address on the postal address would be Kiltegan. So it's exactly, if you look at it on a line, it's between Baltinglass and Kiltegan. It takes up part of what I said to you there, which is the Baltinglass cluster, which is the biggest concentration of hill forts in Europe in one location. So it's quite unique as a landscape in that there is not another landscape like it in Europe. So it has huge historic and archaeological significance. Probably, as we've said from the start on this, and I hate to say this against Kilranelagh, but it is probably, if it was put as a candidate on a World UNESCO list, it would be a more credible candidate because it's much, much older. It's going back 6,000 BC.
Right, and poor old St. Kevin is, 500 or 600. Okay, I got all that. Okay, so what difference would a few wind turbines have on the land? It'd just be plonked down on it, wouldn't they?
Well, I think it's probably a little bit more complicated than that, but I mean, a lot of people would take your analogy as that's what it is. You're looking at a landscape here that, as said, is 6,000 BC. Archaeologists at the moment are frantically working to date the remaining hill forts, but it looks like what they have is a cultural cluster of pre-Christian monuments that would rival anything in Europe, which means that from a tourism historical point, it would be probably Wicklow's greatest asset. If you look at putting 5 turbines now reduced from 9 in there, it has exactly the same effect. It breaks that landscape. That landscape, if you were to talk to archaeologists, is so unique that there is not another one left in Europe like it. So it would be similar to, probably what has happened you have to go as far as Australia to see what the Rio Tinto company recently done in Australia. They destroyed the Aboriginal tribe caves there, which are ancient caves, and it has caused a war in Australia. And this is a site, but it has far more significance even than that. It is so ancient, it's so old, it's so valuable. And to think that ABO Wind actually made an application here based on archaeologists that they hired and paid to tell them that there is nothing significant in here that would disrupt such an industrial construction, well then I think they need to go to
That's a very serious charge, Paul, about the integrity of people working to do their job. And the inference is something that we certainly can't stand over, what you're saying there, to be honest.
No, but I'd be quite honest with you, Declan, we have no problem standing over, and we've stated it from the start publicly. I mean,
I know that's your opinion, but I don't really want the integrity of archaeologists brought into question on the programme. It's your opinion that you feel they made the wrong judgment. That's fine.
Well, I think if you want to put it that way, Declan, that's fine. I mean, that's a politically correct way to put it.
No, it's not. It's actually an accurate way. It's your opinion that they made the wrong decision. It's not your place and my place, the radio station's place, to actually call into question the integrity of people and inferring that for financial gain they came up with a particular answer.
Yeah, well, I think, Declan, on the scale of things here, and I mean, certain times people have to call things. There comes times, and I know you've done it in your own previous past, is that simply a site, a location like this is simply not suitable. It is very similar to going into the Boyne Valley. We saw previous works that happened in Dublin. before what happened on the Wood Quay site. So we have to call it as it is. This is a hugely significant site. It's actually mentioned in the Wicklow County Development Plan. Now, they've gone to the trouble of putting it in their County Development Plan. So if you were a developer, the first thing you should read is the County Development Plan and see that, by the way, this place is mentioned in here with a significant...
absolutely, take all those points. I just, you know the point I was making. So why do you think that, say, Wicklow County Council or OPW or Heritage or anything like that haven't, been talking more loudly about stopping something like this?
I think probably you've got to go back a little bit and look at the last county development plan, which was 2016. 2016, Wicklow County Council started to realise the significance of the Baltinglass cluster, and only through archaeological research that had been done through UCC, through a Professor William O'Brien. He brought a team to Baltinglass and they started to excavate the sites. They then realised that this thing is older than the Boyne Valley. This is hugely significant, and that there is a cluster of monuments here that doesn't exist anywhere else in Europe. At that stage, it was too late to amend the development plan. The development plan had been done, so we have to wait now till 2022 for the new development plan to come into place, which will probably have more stringent regulations. However, unfortunately for us, Declan, it doesn't preclude a planning application going in at this time.
Okay, so the fight continues.
The fight continues, but to be quite honest with you, we're more determined than ever. Our Facebook page has huge traction now, where people are aware, because we're actually getting the information out to the local community in a way it hasn't been going out there. And they're now aware of the significance of the area. I think there's also a huge enthusiasm among businesses and whatever to say, this area here has huge potential for the whole community. It has huge tourism potential long term. Hopefully we let a few of them Dublin people in you're talking about later on when the coronavirus is gone. But it has such a massive potential for all the small towns that are underdeveloped tourism-wise in the Baltinglass and all the little villages around it. So we see huge potential here, Declan, but not to have it destroyed for an inappropriate siting of wind turbines. There is places, to build things. To have it, okay, but not on top of heritage. Okay, we keep in touch, Paul, and you do keep in touch with us. Yeah, Declan, just one thing, if people could go onto our page, www.ag, our Facebook page, we've got a petition, and then we're starting to fundraise because we've got to fight this planning application with our own funds. So we're going to post up there over the coming week how you can put in funds to help us keep this landscape in its condition.
Very good. The West Wicklow Wind Action Group. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you very much, Declan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, take care. Morning show at East Coast.